And guess who came through for Lou? Modeling, fashion design, interior design, and all things chocolate and fine. D. Hawkins is mine as he discussed what you can discover and what you can expect to uncover about his life and career and this season of Chasing LA, my dear.
Order my steps in
Oh,
your
you better.
love.
Ooh, okay.
Lead me, guide me every way.
Ooh.
Guess Who with Lou is where I come through to chat with who you do know or don't know but need to know. I'm chatting with the best and there will be mess, but you will never know who is next.
How old are you?
So, D. Hawkins is 30 years young.
Oh wow, you don't y'all, let me tell y'all something about this Chasing LA cast. Y'all look really good for y'all late 20s, early 30s. Cause then where are you from?
So, originally from a small town called Tyler, Texas.
And then what's your zodiac sign?
My zodiac sign, I am the bull. Not a bull, but the bull, Taurus.
Ooh, what's the fun fact about a Taurus?
Well, one thing about a Taurus, I mean, it's quite known across the board. We are very bullheaded. We're quite stubborn, but we love extremely hard. If you are lucky enough to canoodle with a Taurus, then
Oh,
you might have a lifetime partner.
ooh, okay, okay.
Okay.
So music, interior designing, modeling, and acting. What was your first love?
My absolute first love is music. I actually come from a very strong music background, church background also. My mom, she is classically trained. My music background goes all the way back to my uncle. It's an old group called by the name of the Coasters. It's a
Mm-hmm.
group called Coasters. They some of their premier songs or highlight songs were like Yakety Yak, Don't Talk Back, Charlie Brown, but Carl Gardner of the Coasters, the lead singer, he was my uncle. So music, literally since I was 2 years old.
Who and what inspired your career?
Quite honestly, I'm a huge fan of Tyler Perry. And in the sense of one thing about Tyler Perry that I love, he literally is a gang of people trapped in one vessel.
Mm-hmm.
Like myself. And one thing you'll see throughout the show, in the green screens, literally, you're gonna see a totally different look in every single green screen. I go from, my comfortable, natural, masculine D. Hawkins way to more of a feminine, throwing a unit, represent, and it's supporting my, trans community girls, literally
Right.
everything. Like literally, however I feel that day is how I choose to dress. But Tyler Perry, he inspires me because um, just his work ethic. The fact that he literally came from nothing. He had a vision. He had a dream. He stepped out on faith. He believed in
Mm.
God. Myself. I consider that the highest. Of all. But the fact that he literally just made it happen.
So, how did you get involved with chasing reality?
Actually, I've only been in LA a year. I moved to LA January 15th of 2020 to be exact. So I
Yeah.
got here, I hit the ground running within my first 2 weeks. I was at the Grammys, I was at the Oscars, I was
Mm.
doing assisted styling, with a good friend of mine, and literally it's just one thing after another. When you keep God first,
Hmm.
your all of your steps are ordered. Do you hear it? Order my steps in
Oh,
your
you better.
love.
Ooh, okay.
Lead me, guide me every way.
So, first impressions of the cast. Who was a bop and who was a flop?
I will say that immediately, um, the first day, Jeremy Copeland, he really stood out to me.
Hmm.
I can honestly say I didn't know a lot about him. I knew of him through a mutual friend that I knew back in Dallas, back in Texas or whatever. Jeremy stood out to me. King, stood out to me as well. Andre, I didn't know Andre, but he had a really big personality. So, I was kind of on. Yes, that part. Yes. I wanna rock up on the floor. Now, and you know what? The thing about it is I love Andre. I love him to death. That
Yeah.
is my friend. When I tell you, Andre, he is on his grind. He is working. Now, he is one that didn't necessarily have to set up scenes. He just invited them in. He actually.
At this current moment, who can you kick it with and who can kick rocks?
All right, so at this very moment, who I can see myself kicking in with, I would say Fran, Andre, Ian, pretty much I could kick it with everybody on the cast, minus Miss Kwan.
Miss Kwan.
Kwan was, I thought a good friend.
Uh-huh.
But, when people, are trying to get their 15 seconds, not minutes, but seconds of fame, honey,
Ooh.
they try to, cross you in different ways. So, I'm the type of person, I match energies. When you cross me, it ain't nothing. King and I started out really, really good. Now, I have seen one of his recent interviews with Armand Wiggins,
King.
and
Oh, you talking about King Payne.
King
Boom.
Payne.
Right. Uh-huh.
And he did make a few false statements, and it was a bit surprising,
Right.
to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even going to go in too much of an elaborate detail about it because I don't really want to give him too much shine on my dime.
What were your initial goals with this opportunity? Do you feel like they changed or were they achieved?
I will say that my initial goal coming onto the Chasing Reality brand was to showcase my talents as an interior designer, to showcase my talents as a singer, songwriter, and rapper, and to launch and promote my clothing brand. Now, I have to be honest. Now, of course, Chasing Reality, I am not in charge of the editing process, so you don't know necessarily how it's going to actually be displayed. But I know at the end of the day, people will know who D. Hawkins is. They will want to know more about D. Hawkins. And at the end, D. Hawkins will become a household name and my products will be bought. So goal achieved. Definitely goal achieved.
Perfect.
Now, as we get toward the reunion, that will prove, I guess in the as far as the overall aspect, if in the big picture, if the goal was achieved. But so far, so good.
What did you think of episode 1?
Episode 1, I lived for it. Now, I will say, Andre, he owned episode 1. That baby, like they could have replayed that 24 times, and I would have laughed every time.
That rap was hilarious.
I was quite shocked at Kwan's comment about Andre and King.
He did apologize. Boom. Let me say that.
I mean, at the end of the day, it was due. Wouldn't you agree?
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, I see myself being definitely a very well-known household name. I see myself being in a position to where I am at the forefront of leading LGBT men and women of all races. In 5 years, I see myself being an activist. I see myself being definitely, like I said, a household name. I see myself being able to just live freely, being on multiple TV screens.
What is one thing about D. Hawkins that people don't know, but they need to know?
One thing about D. Hawkins that people need to know is D. Hawkins is definitely a force to be reckoned with. D. Hawkins is here to inspire everybody that has a dream, that has faith, that has hope, and that are willing to be humble enough to allow God or the universe to guide their path. I'm here to let everybody know that life is truly only what you make of it, but you have to put in some work in order to make it happen. I wouldn't be here today without God, without the highest, without the universe, without my faith, and without the support of my family, and I'll say the few people that I can truly call a friend. Mm-hmm. And with that, I have no complaints in this world.
If you enjoyed the interview, then you will enjoy the season. Make sure to check out these queers of color chasing checks and reading the train wrecks on Chasing LA, only on Chasing Reality.